Now we're going to look for an empty site. For example, I have this particular site, which is formerly an agricultural place. And then you have been given a contract to actually build or develop a particular building on this place. Or you have a road, you have this particular road, and then you need to carry out construction. And then this possibly is your yard. You want to establish a yard so that you actually do your material arrangement for prefabrications and all that. Okay. So now what we need to do is to actually create the boundary of the site. Okay. So I'll go to my layer, create layer. So we are going to create a polygon now. So Mr. Jerry, you can pay attention to this. So you go to create layer and then click on new shapefile layer. Okay. Then here, under the file name, where you're supposed to write the name of the layer that you want to create. Now, if I write the name straight here, it is covered that I will not know the exact location where I'll be saving this. So I will rather click on this browse button here. Then it will take me to location where I can save it. For example, I'll go to my desktop. And then I have a folder that we created the other time, which is GIS folder. And then under my GIS folder, I talk about map project and shapefile, right? I'll open my shapefile. And then let's say, I'll write the name of the site. Let's say, Kaduna site boundary. Okay. So I'll click save. So discover it as saved here. Now, under the geometry type, I will now pick polygon because we have to do with boundary, right? I'll pick polygon. Then under the new field now, that is the attribute information that you're supposed to add. For example, the name of the site. So let's say I'll just write Kaduna. You understand? Or proposed building for Mr. Proposed building. Proposed building. Oh, okay. Let me just call it site name. Wait, instead of writing that proposed, because that proposed building will be your response, not the name of the field. So I'll just write site name as the name of the field. And then the test data, we'll leave it as a test because you are going to write alphabets, right? So the length, I can put like 200 because when you have a very longer site, a site that has a very long name, I'm talking about the name of the site, not the site, not the landmass. Okay. So if that is okay, I'll click on add to field list. So now if you have other information, the location, the project manager or the site engineer that's going to be on the site and all that, you can actually add all those informations to the fields. But let's assume this is all what we need now. And then I'll click OK. Now, if I go to layer here, under the layer, you see that we have our Kaduna site boundary. So you click on it, and then you click on edit. Okay, and then you click on add polygon. Remember, I click on the layer I create first, and then I click on this toggle edit, and then I click on add polygon. Then I can now digitize my boundary. So you see, I have my boundary. I'll now right click and then I'll now fill the name, now the site name. I can now write propose site in Kaduna, possibly for Mr. So and so. Then I'll click OK. So I have my polygon already. So I'll double click on this. Okay, I double click on this and then I click on simple field. And then I go to under the field color here. I'll click on transparent. Then under the stroke color, that is the outline color, I can change it to blue, depending on the kind of color that you want. Under the stroke width, you can increase the thickness of your outline. You can see that it's being increased here. And then I click OK. Now, the essence of making it transparent so that I can be working within the boundary and then at the same time, I'll be seeing what is under it. Okay, because here we are not going to just assume we have to do everything based on what is on the ground. Okay, so then I'm going to create another polygon now. Okay, possibly the site facilities or temporary structures or proposed building. Possibly I'll call it site facility so that when we come to site facility, whether it's temporary structure, whether it's water, whether it's the proposed building itself, can be included in that layer. So I'll go to layer again, create layer, new shapefile, and then I'll click on this button, and then I'll click on this place to write facilities, site facility, site facilities. So I'll click on save, and then the geometry is also polygon. And then under the field name, we have facility name. Let's say I'll write name underscore FAC. Okay, because if you write a longer word, it might not cover, right? So just short it like this. Name underscore facility, which is name of facilities. And then I can increase it, the text to 200, we'll leave it at text as well. And then I click on add to new field. Okay. And which other information that is required for this? If there's any other information, you can actually add more. So I'll click OK from here. And then I'll click on the facilities. And then I click on start toggle editing. And then I click on add polygon. Okay. Now, if you look at this side very well, you actually see that, okay, I think there's a kind of a fence somewhere, which is a temporary structure or going to be demolished. And then from the ground here, I see that this particular place is somehow down, like there's a small slopy view here, or a kind of a small hole somewhere here, which is actually reasonable assumption because we did not go to the site. But on your own, if you are to do a site plan for any particular site, definitely you actually need to visit the site or send someone to the site that will pick position of every other things that is required. So if this place is a gully area, your field staff or your surveyor will actually indicate with a point, will pick the point, show the gully area. Now, the size of your site or the site of your building also determine. So let's assume this time around, you will not just draw. Okay, first of all, what you need to do is that from here, Okay, from the top here, as you can see, we have measurements. Okay, so if I click on this arrow, I have measure line, I have measure area, and then I have measure angle. So now let's assume I pick a measure line. Okay, now you see this dialog box now. Now let's assume we want to bring out our proposed building. Okay, now you discover that from the distance from the road to where your proposed building is, let's assume you want is a back, you want to, I'm sorry, the distance from your boundary, not the road, to where your proposal is within your layout now. Let's say you want 10 meter. You see, you are seeing that it's increasing and reduced. So if I take it to 10 meter, okay, I'll click. All right. Then I'll take it to this direction now. Maybe the next place. So depending on the size of the building that you are building or you are constructing. So let's assume I want a building of 53 meters or 50 meters. I'll click and then I go down. I want let's say 20. And then I go down and then I go possibly and then I close it here. Right? Now, if I go back to my add polygon, right? If I go back to my add polygon now, you know the position where you put all those things, or possibly if you can actually put a point. Okay, so I will click, and then click. All right, so you right click, and then let's assume I call this proposed building. And I click OK. So this is a proposed building. Now we talk about site office. Now, possibly we can assume this is the entrance to the site because you see that there's a little bit wide cut here for the road. So we can assume this is the entrance. So we can categorically or easily position our security post somewhere here. Can position our security post here. So can be called security house. Security house. Security house. And I have a security house. Okay. Now, if that is your security house, possibly for your site offices not to interfere with the building. If not, if I say I should put my site office here. So if you have if your gate is here, and then you have your site office here. So if you have a visitor, it will actually pass through all those, close to your proposed building. So it's actually more better we place our site office somewhere here. Site office. Then I click OK. Okay. And then placing of materials. Okay. Let's assume at this point, we can possibly, because if you look at the distance here, we can possibly place our quartz aggregate here. Quartz aggregates. Or let's just use the word aggregate for all of them. aggregate, aggregate. Okay, and then at the back, if it is required crane, you can position your crane. Let's assume I have crane here. Crane. And then let's assume we need a prefabricated place, which this place is not bad, so that it will have close access to the office, site office, and then the store. So prefabrication, prefabrication, and then we have, let's assume we have our store here very close to the site office. Store. And then we have maybe a water. Okay. Depend on the size of the tank. But if you look at the measurement between this security, look at the measurement between the security and then the office, we're having 40 meters. So possibly within this place, we can actually place our water tank and power. Okay. So we can do that. Water and power, water and power control, and power control area. Then, which other facilities that we need again? Okay, like canteen, possibly where people will come and be eating. So if this is the entrance, we can actually position the canteen somewhere here. So let's say eating area 10. Okay, so which other facilities depend on the depend on what and what that is required. So that is why it says that when it comes to that, you actually need to itemize all the tasks or all the facilities that you are going to be required. There are some stores that or some sites that actually need a safety room or first aid room or a hospital or a kind of clinic. Okay, so depend on the magnitude of the site. So all those things is site organization. So you actually need to sit down and prepare your site. So if you actually position everything now, then we can decide to do what we call categorization. Okay, or either you do categorization or you do labeling. So if I double click on this, I go to label. Under the label, I click on this arrow and then I select single label. And then under the single label now we have the facility name. And then you can, the text, under the text, you can increase it in case it will be small. Under the size, you can change the color. And then I click OK. So you see that you actually have some of those things showing on the site. Now, one of the disadvantages of labeling it like this is when you are having a small polygon with a big writing. For example, now I have water and power control area, and then it happens that it's actually very long, so it is not fixed within the polygon. So instead of that, of labeling them, we can actually categorize. So I can go back and put no label and click OK. Go back to the same place again and go to under symbols. Click on these arrows and click on categorization. Then we are categorizing based on which value? Based on name of facilities, right? And then after that, I click on classify. So you see that all of them has a different colors. So I'll click OK. So I see all your facility has a different color. So now when you are producing your map, you can now show the key or the legend that, okay, this color is for power and water control room or area. This is for office, this is for store, this is for proposed building. Okay, that can be shown on your legend during your map composer. Okay, so basically, this is how you can do your site layout. And then if it is required for you to bring out the roads, then it will require you for you to create a line. So I'll go and create a line, new shapefile. I'll click on this browse, and then I call it site road or site access. Okay, so site access. Okay. So now that the geometry type now pick line. And then I can now digitize. Then you can actually write a site name or road name. Or possibly I'll write just name. And then I click OK. Okay. Then I can now digitize the road. So possibly toggle and add line feature. And then I digitize the road. And then I digitize the road to show the line, the boundary of the road. So I'll click on site plan. And then I increase the thickness of the road. Possibly you can change the color. And then I click OK. So you can see. And then if you're having a road within the site as well, you can at the same time digitize your road within the site, because this is the access road. So possibly there will be a road here. Okay. Possibly there's going to be a road. Okay, for accessibility. Okay. You can decide to make your road double. Okay. And then possibly there can be also a road within this place. And also a road within this place. Okay, so you can see bringing out different shape. So one thing is that all these depend on the kind of site that you are doing and then your organization of the site. But the most important thing is that you actually, there's a visualization compared to when you are using a CAD software of a real-time image from the top. Okay, so basically this is how you can produce your layout. So after that, you can go to your composer. Okay, create map. And then I can add it to my map. So if you don't know how to do create or work with composers, you can watch our videos on our classes on Composer. We have done that already. So you can add, and then you see you can export this particular map or this particular plan. Okay. Basically, this is how you can actually produce your layout using QGIS. Is there any question?